The bishop asked for forgiveness because people were scared, and there were certain groups that felt just that they were going to be really harassed and hurt, and those were LGBTQ plus and what other community?
Immigrant communities.
Yeah. So, do you think it was wrong for her to ask for forgiveness or ask
For
the
mercy?
president? Yeah, ask for mercy.
No, I don't think the bishop was wrong for doing it. It was real. You know what was really wrong? To put that bishop in the first place. The voters, the 49% voters, plurality of people that voted for the felon in chief, and the people, the evangelicals, and the corrupt billionaires such as Elon Musk, the biggest drug addict, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos, they're the ones that need to apologize to the people LGBT community. They're the ones that need to apologize to the minority community, and you need to ask them for forgiveness. So you wouldn't even put that bishop in for that benediction in the first place.
So, uh, far as the president, I know he got angry, but do you think that he understands the concept of God? I mean,
No, he does not understand the concept of compassion or God. He understands two things: money, power, and white supremacy. That's the concept. That's his God. That's his concept.
okay. Now, abstract thinking is the ability to understand concepts that are not tied to concrete, tangible objects or experiences. It involves processing ideas that are theoretical, hypothetical, or symbolic rather than directly observable. And here are some key aspects of abstract thinking: the ability to grasp complex concepts such as justice, love, freedom that cannot be easily defined or measured. Problem solving, engaging in critical thinking and reasoning to solve problems that require considering multiple factors or perspectives rather than relying solely on concrete facts. Do you think that the president have critical thinking skills?
He don't have no critical thing. He don't even read. He don't even read. You can't develop critical thinking skills if you don't even read to begin with. And the president is not interested in even reading or understanding concepts and facts to begin with. He even makes up what Kellyanne Conway calls alternative facts, which is another word for lies.
Okay, future planning, the capacity to envision possibilities, make predictions, and consider hypothetical scenarios, which involves thinking beyond the immediate presence. That means what to you?
What it means to me is thinking beyond just today, like thinking between 5, 10, 15, 25 years down the line. That's what I interpret it as.
Do you think that when he makes a decision, he don't realize the consequences that it could cause in this moment in time?
He don't care. He don't care.
All right. Abstract thinking is crucial for higher leverage cognitive function, including creative strategic planning and effective communication. So it allows the individual to navigate complex social situations, engage in philosophical discussions, and formulate theories. So is the president having these kind of discussions with people, or is he just cutting them off at the knees?
I mean, he's cutting off the people that has expertise and firing people that has the expertise know what the hell they're talking about. So he's not having, there's nothing philosophical about this president at all. And anybody that's more intelligent than him, guess what? They're firing him for some yes man.
Oh, okay. So, with that being said, do you think that he believes in God?
No, no, he does not believe in God. He believes in money and power and white supremacy. That's his God.
The God is an abstract concept, like freedom, and um, it's abstract, and it's hard for him to grasp that concept of God because he thinks what?
He thinks about himself. That's all he cares about is himself and
So,
his corrupt billionaires.
so he's self-centered, and God is used for the purpose of manipulating other people to kind of savage his image. The belief in God can be complex, and anything complex, I don't think he really grasps. He don't really think about when he does something. It's kind of impulsive, and
Like for instance, like when he said there was a case by case basis on the January 6th, when he was supposed to do case by case on pardons, he just freed everybody. That wasn't complex.
wow. So basically, what we're saying here today is, if you say that God saved you for the purpose of,
That is not a president of the United States saying that God saved me to make America greater. That sounds like a cult like David Koresh and Jim Jones and Charles Manson.
you know, something that they never stress? They never stress the fact that uh, even though Biden had problems maybe with his mental acuity and he was aging, they never. How many books have been written on Biden? How many books have we read on the president? We've read over how many books?
We read over 27 books just on the president right now. And I'm reading another book right now called The Dangerous Charisma right now,
Is it?
as we speak.
Is it? I don't think it's 20. We've read a lot of books.
Yeah, a lot of books. Not one book on Biden, except for Biden's autobiography.
Oh, okay. So that.
That's because Biden don't make any money for them.
So that's another thing right there. Now, when the media get on here and try to normalize the behavior of the president,
Which is intentional behavior.
okay, they do not understand because they have failed to what?
They have failed to learn. They're not going to learn because it's going to hurt their bottom line and profits. That's what it is.
So the whole time they got on here and they sit there and asked all these questions about what is he going to do? Is he going to change anything? And if they had
If he does change, it change for the worse.
if they understood that he didn't believe in science, if they didn't understand that he can't, he has no belief in anything that steers toward emotions, they wouldn't have treated it. Maybe they still treating it that way because they still talking like everything that he's doing is normal behavior, and it's not. It's not normal behavior. So, all the books that we've read and all the things that we've experienced in our life has pointed us into the direction that we know factually that he cannot what?
I mean, he cannot do the job as president of the United States to begin with.
Okay.
He can't even be a business person the way he thinks and his attitude and how he treated his workers.
Yet the media continue to what?
The media continue to not only excuse this, but normalize intentional behavior, making it unintentional pay the price.
And when you say unintentional, those are behaviors that what?
That comes out unintentionally. They don't mean or plan to do anything.
Okay. Some of those unintentional behaviors fall under people that may have a brain injury or a stroke or Alzheimer's or dementia or nonverbal learning disability. Those are behaviors that what?
That come out unintentionally.
And when you say come out unintentionally, again, meaning they may do something and they are not emotionally.
They're not emotionally disturbed at all. They don't plan their stuff. They don't even plan to steal. We make lousy criminals too because we leave a lot of evidence as well. Plus, we were not interested in doing those still because it takes a lot of planning.
Okay, and that's another thing that you may struggle with organizational skills, right?
Yeah, organizational skills. So if you're going to ask a unique ability to do a crime, like me to do a crime, I would fail.
Okay. So the behavior is intentional and harmful, and it hurts a lot of people, and sometimes they may not hurt They may not understand that they're hurting people. They're doing it constantly and saying, oh, what was the young lady's name that you went to school with? She said she kept doing things and she did it over and over and over again.
Oh, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny.
Yeah. And so uh, she didn't realize that she was making this.
The same life lesson over and over again. It's the same mistake, the same problem. Because once you start making the same thing over and over again, then it starts to be a problem. One of my mentors taught me this. If you make a mistake once, that's a life lesson. The second time is a mistake. Third time, you got a problem. Mel Abraham taught me that. That's one of the mentors that I listened to.
Okay. So, you struggle with abstract concepts. And I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe in God?
I believe in science and facts and separate spirituality from in science and the facts. I believe in the facts so I can make the right decisions for my life. For my health, my businesses, and the places that I want to go, and the environments that I want to be, and the people I want to surround myself with.
So church and state should always be...
Church and state for me should always be separate. Okay. I don't even mess with church.
Okay. And you use the word secular humanist. Could you explain that?
A secular humanist believes in things and principles outside of church, that things should always stay away, highly believes in separation of church and state. That's what secular humanists believes in. They are the ones that have a lot of principles, and they live by those principles. They have principles fighting for human rights.
So basically, on the other hand,
narcissists are not the same as a secular humanist at all, period. Although that a narcissist can be a secular humanist, a narcissist or a secular humanist only by benefit. That's benefit to them.
Because everything is about their image.
It's about their image and their pride. Whereas a secular humanist, they never change. They stay to their principles every time. And they're open to change when the research happens.
Okay, so basically you're saying that a narcissist might adopt being a secular humanist superficially for their self-image gain or social approval rather than being genuine or committed to his principle. And on the other hand, with you being a secular humanist and, struggling with the concept of God.
I just decided I don't mess with too many churches. I don't read the Bible.
Okay.
Or the Quran, none of that stuff. I don't mess with that.
Okay, so that means that you're motivated by...
I'm motivated by science and by human rights. My human rights and humanity's human rights. And especially in me as African American, I have to worry about human rights.
So you got genuine concern for human welfare and ethical behaviors, right? Versus what a narcissist would have, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So basically, I'm going to ask you, do you think that the president have genuine concern for mankind?
He has no genuine interest for mankind. I mean, look what he did with his business. Look how he treated his workers and contractors before he was president in office to begin with. So no, he doesn't have no genuine interest for mankind. He don't have no genuine interest for his family. Everything is about me, myself, and I. That's it for him.
Okay. And so their focus tend to be on themselves and their needs, desires, and images.
He even scammed his own voters. Look what he did with the cryptos, okay? $52 billion that he made off of his own supporters. And you tell me that's a concern for society. Please.
So once again, they tend to focus on themselves and their own needs, desires, and images rather than on their well-being of others. And they may while they may express concern for others when it serves their interests, when it serves their purpose, to gain admiration or manipulate others. This concern is often superficial and self-serving. True empathy and compassion for others are generally lacking in the president. is lacking in the president, making it difficult for him to engage in altruistic behaviors without ulterior motive. So there's going to always be some kind of skim in the game for them, right?
Yes.
Their action may appear caring, but they are usually driven by a desire for validation or to enhance their own status. Now, we're back to that question. Do you think, and you said, and I asked you, did you believe in God? And you said that you were a secular humanist.
Yes.
And you were more like in Project 2025, they're trying to get rid of all the people.
They're trying to get rid of all the people that understands the facts.
The facts and science.
And science. And that's what they're trying to do.
That these are the experts that care about mankind, right?
And know what they're actually talking about.
Okay. But if you got somebody in there and they don't believe in God, then they may profess to believe in God, but as long as it fit their agenda, their self-image,
and control the populace.
Yeah, to manipulate others. So, in other words, it's leverage. It's leverage to say that I'm going to say that God saved me. I want the world to see that God saved me. But that's
just leverage. That's a cult type. That's just more than just like that is cult language. That's just more than just leverage. That's beyond leverage. That's cult language. That is David Koresh, Jim Jones leverage.
Okay. So when everybody was over there kind of being down on President Biden's mental acuity, or, how he processes information and saying he was aging. How many books have we read on President Biden?
There were no books on Biden's mental acuities. The only book that we had on President Biden is his own biography.
And how many books have we read on the president?
Oh my God. 35 to 100 books on just the president alone.
No, I don't think it's that many. That might be you're overextending that. What we read is, we could say like maybe 10, a lot of papers.
A lot of papers. We had a lot of books, a lot of papers on him.
Yeah, but there has never been a contrasting and comparison of the books that they've got on even Barack Obama or President Clinton. They didn't have this type of behavior.
Or even George W. Bush to some extent.
Yeah.
When you had Bush on Bush, it was usually on policies.
Okay. So basically nobody brought that out. Nobody said, well, this person over here got all these books. This is the facts. Maybe is that why he wanted to get rid of all the books, or because all this information. Well, even now, one of the guys said, well, I don't know why he think that January 6th was a love fest when we got all this tape and information. And
that was not no love fest. That was a day of violence. When people died, police officers were dying the next moment due to psychological because of what happened on January 6th. That was not no love fest at all. That was an insurrection and traitor. In other countries, if you did that in places like Iran or China, you would be sentenced to death. If you did that in Germany or you did that in Brazil had the same problem with Bolsonaro supporters, and Bolsonaro supporters are similar to Trump supporters. They tried to overthrow the government in Brazil, and you know what happened? They got arrested, and Bolsonaro, the president, cannot even leave the country and went to prison for that. Why can we not adopt the Brazilian model for dealing with insurrectionists?
Well, a lot of people don't think he's an insurrectionist. He's their president. And that's how
he's a traitor. Okay. He is a traitor.
Okay. So, basically, I know you have very strong feelings. A lot of people have strong feelings. A lot of people are hurt. And they're seeing behavior that they've never seen before. behavior that we tried to say years ago that, hey, it's somebody
that was festering under the bubble. We were warning about this behavior way back since 2011, years in advance. Go to the NLD recognition blog. We were warning about this behavior,
oligarchy behavior.
even then.
You know.
Even then.
But, you know, people want to like and subscribe and sell their what?
People want to like and subscribe and sell their soul for some self-validation.
And the horrible, looking at it now, everybody's in this cycle for everything that he puts out, they're eating, and it's gonna burn them out, and that's what he does, But if they step back, take a breath, and learn, and we can complain, like I said. We can complain, but the thing is we have to make changes, and with those changes we have to oppose and resist, all the actions that's coming at us. But we have to also realize that all those executive orders is a step-by-step process.
It's this beginning. It is the beginning of law that is going back to not just to the Jim Crow, but back to the days of 1800s, back to the days of slavery.
Okay. So I'm glad that you explained, that you struggle with abstract thinking, that you struggle with concepts of God, that you're not an atheist, right?
I'm not an atheist.
Okay, but you saying that your behavior when you do something, it is what?
When my behavior, it is unintentional. In my behavior with believing in science, I read, I study,
Okay.
I look for better people. An understanding of myself so I can understand others. Sometimes I even learn from other people's mistakes so I wouldn't have to do no empathy in the first place.
Well, the thing about it is, even though you struggle with the empathy and it's hard for,
I put myself in other shoes by reading and listening to their stories, and I compare. If that person got in that situation, if it didn't work for them, then it would be affecting me 30 times worse. I wouldn't even do that in the first place.
But you're more like a hybrid because you're willing to learn.
I'm willing to learn from that life lesson, so I wouldn't do it.
And you have become very what?
I've become very sociable, but when you become sociable nowadays, it's gotten even worse. From the pandemic to they just, he touched me, harassed me the wrong way. If they don't like you, it's that bad.
Yeah, but you've gained.
And by the time I was making those type of gains, it's being said, the society is just reversing back to the time when I was just a 4-year-old child, when I was first diagnosed at 4 years, 10 months.
Yeah, but even though you had many assessments over time, you got the opportunity
to see that we're heading to a society that is just a true disability, is when you had it and it was taken away. And when you had it and you threw it away, that is the true definition of a disability.
So where you are upset, even with somebody that's asking for mercy, asking for forgiveness, and these are things that are emotional, that's hard for you to understand, but you're saying that, hey, I'm looking at this and I'm kind of grasping this.
I'm trying to ask for asking forgiveness. It should be the American people that should apologize to the bishop. It should be the plurality of American people and the oligarchs that should apologize to the immigrants and to the lesbian people that is about to be hurt, or some people being killed. They're the one that should be apologizing, not the bishop.
But see, the thing that you're saying today is, even with the assessments and what you went through, and we've talked about this. We've talked about the intentional behaviors versus the unintentional behaviors, and you pointed out and made it clear that, if that gap closes, then that means that there will be suffering for people that have behaviors, that have done things that's, on the basis of a brain, may have a brain-based problem, from, like I say, from Alzheimer's to a brain injury, and they may not be aware that they're doing damage, but when you totally aware of having intentional behaviors, and you're rewarded for it. Now
That's that's just enraging.
and so that's what's been our fight for
That's
over,
been our fight for so many years.
and we can't give up. We can't give up because all of it has pointed to what?
To this time and this moment.
Right. And so I think what happens is when people don't have anything to compare it to, like if you didn't have a comparison and a contrast, and then you wouldn't be able to learn, you wouldn't be able to understand about your emotions, or and it's taken many years.
Many years to have the comparison and contrast, but we have a whole bunch of contrasts from the president to the racists in Congress like Andy Biggs and Chip Roy to Marjorie Taylor Greene. There are so many contrasts.
And you learned from that.
I learned from that. And state officials and state officials as well, to the governors.
So when you sit there and saw what the bishop had said, even though it was hard to understand those concepts, you've lived that and seen it and viewed it in your life. And you begin to understand because you want to understand and you want to make changes.
I'm trying to make changes, not just in my life, but sometimes in my community or country. Or if I can't make those communities, I'll just go to a different community that really celebrates and accepts me and celebrates me for who I am and not tolerate me.
Okay, that's a good point. Say that again.
I'd rather go to a community that will accept me and celebrate me than to tolerate me.
And remember,
and if I go to a community that just tolerate me, that don't accept me, I just leave that community or try to make changes. And if I can't make those changes, I just leave that community, leave that state, or leave that country.
Well, people need to see the difference, the contrast, because they've treated this like it was something that was really normal, and it wasn't, and they have continued to do so. They have continued. And the behavior, do you think his behavior will get better or get worse over time?
This behavior will get worse over time. Okay. It will get worse over time. It will not get better. It will not get better.
Okay. So you brought a lot to light, and you shared, and I really like the part that you shared about a secular humanist. I really appreciate that because, I'm in a process of learning, and you've been a masterful educator, a masterful teacher, and I appreciate how hard you have worked over these years, and to get here and to see the switch of someone being rewarded for their intentional behaviors that could
not only just intentional behaviors and abuse. Just look at the Defense Secretary with P. Heschner. That was a reward of sexual abuse. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, that could be your next topic, so you can talk about that. But on that note, we want to thank the bishop for asking for something that cannot be done by the president because he doesn't have the ability to absorb the concepts of emotions, of empathy. He doesn't, that's something that he can't do. You can wait on it. It's not gonna happen today, tomorrow, not ever.
Not ever.
It's only gonna
it's only going to get even more evil from here. I'm just sorry. What I will have to say to the bishop is, I'm sorry that you had to even make that plea in the first place. The one that should have made that plea, the one that should have been asking for forgiveness, are the people that sponsored this president in the first place. And the people that voted for him, and the 84 million people that sat on their butts, that did not vote. They're the ones that should be asking for forgiveness. They should be apologizing to the immigrant community. They're the ones that should be apologizing to the lesbian community.
So on that,
That is on them, not the bishop.
okay. And so on that note, like you told me, you'd rather be liked for what?
I'd rather be liked for who I am. I'd rather be disliked for who I am than love for being stupid.
And on that note,
On that note, we are out.